another episode of the 𝐕𝐢𝐫𝐭𝐮𝐚𥥥 podcast. Here we discuss every week little topics on how to improve relationships. Because I am a big believer that the moment we shift something internally, our whole reality shifts. Because we create the energy that we are living in, and that has a ripple effect if we shift internally on our reality as well as on every relationship in it. So today I want to discuss boundaries and what boundaries reveal about us. So for that, I would like to define boundaries first. Boundaries is what is needed for us to feel safe. That is basically the essence of what boundaries are giving us the opportunity to create in our life. It is how we need interactions to be in our life to feel safe. And many times, if we're a people pleaser, if we are an empath, it is really hard for us to set boundaries or to even have the thought of setting a boundary, or we don't even really know. Like years ago, I did not even know what a boundary was because I did not have any boundaries. I just wanted to always make other people feel good because I was searching outside of me for something to keep my peace until I learned to find peace. I got to find peace within. And oftentimes this is when we notice that boundaries that we should have created in our life were never there, and this is why we didn't feel safe, and this is why we didn't feel at peace. Because the moment we don't have boundaries, people decide where our boundaries are. And of course, not even intentionally, but people take advantage of people who do not have boundaries, and they don't even mean it in a bad way. But it's up to you to decide how much you want to give, how much you feel comfortable sharing about yourself, or what is needed right here and now in whatever situation you're in order to feel safe, because only you know, because every nervous system is different. Everyone has different trauma that they are taking with them through this lifetime and that they're trying to heal. And everyone always has a different perception of reality. No one is perceiving experiences the same way. So this is why it's so essential for us to create boundaries. So boundaries are really for interaction with anyone, what is needed for us to feel safe. So let's do an example for that, especially when you have a hard time with boundaries. Let it be someone you barely know, or someone who is not really a friend you're seeing once in a while. Let's put it at like a soccer game with your kids. And there's someone you're talking to, and they keep asking you questions, personal questions. So you might feel very uncomfortable, but you're still answering them because you don't have the boundaries set up for someone who's not really a friend, where you do not want to disclose something anymore. Maybe your energy will reveal it to them and they will ask questions or stop asking questions, but it's really up for you to set the boundary right away, to really look internally for when you do not feel comfortable anymore. So if it's like an experience like that, people asking you questions that you do not want to answer, it doesn't even have to be someone you just meet at soccer or at the grocery store, wherever. It can also be someone close to you. Maybe that's even a better example for someone who's closer to you, because you may, with them, feel the need to disclose something because they're closer to you, so you don't want to hurt them. So let's make that the example. But even there, put more the focus on how does it make you feel? Do you wanna share something personal right this moment or not? And that is a big point about setting boundaries. It's really, how do you feel in general going through certain experiences and interactions? But it also is like a moment-to-moment thing. And maybe that day you do not feel good and you're not in your center, and some friend or someone you met at soccer or someone very close to you is asking you a question, but you don't feel open to share about it, then let that be your truth. And then it's really about you implementing a boundary where you communicate openly. You know what? I'm not really feeling in my center today, so I don't really feel like sharing right now. Or I do not really want to discuss this right now. And that is a strong boundary. And for people that are fairly new to setting boundaries, this might be really hard because it shifts a lot internally. It shifts a lot internally because in this scenario, you're saying, I don't want to share. It brings up probably a lot of stress in the body, because first, you've probably never done something like that, and you're worried about how's this friend reacting, how's that person from soccer reacting, or someone close to you reacting. But in general, it's just a clear communication on what is needed from you right here and now. And it doesn't have to do anything with them, because you're not saying, I don't want to share this with you because I don't like you right now, or I don't feel comfortable with you right now. No, it's just about you communicating an internal state. And that is the main goal for setting boundaries in general. It's coming back to your own energy and feel into what is needed. And that can always shift. A lot of people, and I noticed that in myself too, when you start setting boundaries, first it is really, really hard and you really don't want to do it. You feel like you're constantly rude. You feel like you're constantly rude because you're just like, no, I actually don't want to share that, or I actually don't want to do that, or actually I don't really like that person, so I don't want to go there. So that feels really weird. So first it feels weird, and then you might start, in the second step, you might set too many boundaries. I noticed that in myself, I noticed that in other people. The moment they realized, oh, that actually feels pretty good to set boundaries, let's set boundaries everywhere. Because then the moment you start getting over, I feel uncomfortable setting boundaries, you notice you get so much of your own energy back because you don't extend it everywhere else, but you keep it within yourself. So you do it more and more. But then there's this third step in creating boundaries where you just notice, well, now I was like very, very strict setting boundaries everywhere. So I'm basically keeping everyone out now, which is good for a while because then you can come back into your own energy and feel it more. But then you can find a good middle way after some time. But that's the most important thing too, because there's a lot of people that start with a healing journey and they start healing and they start setting boundaries, and then they set boundaries everywhere, but this is where they stop because they just notice, okay, the energy is shifting within, I get some energy back. Apparently there was like a lot of energy that I gave away, so I set that boundary. But it's about finding that middle way at the end. So the third step of setting boundaries and having boundaries is really, how do I keep interacting and keep people or make people move closer to me while keeping my boundaries up. Because at the end, boundaries are meant to allow other people to see more of our internal world. Making people see more of our internal world by sharing why we're setting that boundary. And I'm not meaning explaining, I'm setting a boundary with you because of blah, 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 because you're always whatever. You were asking too many questions. Let's get back to the soccer scenario where people are just asking you too many questions. Whatever it is, you don't have to explain that. It's more about sharing something about your internal world, as I feel uncomfortable disclosing something so personal in general. If it's like a person from soccer, or if it's someone close to you, you can just say, right now I just don't feel in my center, so this is why I don't want to talk about it. And this is what I mean, explaining a boundary. You don't explain the boundary as in, I'm setting a boundary because of blah, 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 blah. Something internally, because I'm not feeling well, because I don't feel like talking about it right now. Something about the way you feel that makes people understand, oh, this is why it's happening. Because the moment we do that, we also create that open space for people to see there's something they're working through. And coming back to boundaries in general, and of course it is true that a lot of people are not taking it well when you set a boundary. When I started implementing boundaries, I had some people that were really upset. Really upset because it really is for people that are having a hard time setting boundaries. People take advantage of it. But if you stay in your power and really share about your internal world and the way you feel, no one can deny that. They can try, but it's still your truth, because how you feel within is your truth. And this is where you really have to stick to. Even if people are not taking your boundaries well, or you say, another boundary would be, there's this event and you were excited to go, but then there's something internally shifting where maybe there's people there that you're not feeling comfortable with, you're in your healing journey, so the energy is not aligned, so you decide not to go. But there's still friends that you love and they would love you to be there, but there's other people that you do not want to see, so you decide not to go. So those friends, they might be sad that you're not going, or they might not understand it. They might feel like you're pushing them away. And of course that is like one of those things where boundaries first feel like you're pushing people away, but it's more about making sure others that you're close to see why you're doing it. So with that, you really would share, I'm not going there because ABC person doesn't fit the life I want to live, so I want to stay in my energy, because otherwise I'm moving out there again. And I know, like, coming back to the friends that would love to see you there, you can say, I love you and I would love to be there, but if they are there, I just can't be part of it because I need to move forward in my healing journey. And friends will understand. Family will understand. And maybe they don't. But over time, so that's what I noticed for myself, because I had people close to me that were really upset with me setting boundaries. It was really, for me, standing in my power and making sure I'm sharing something about my internal world. This is how it makes me feel. And this is so important. Like I said before, as long as you keep a boundary by saying, this is how it makes me feel, and this is why I'm doing this in a certain way. No one can take that from you, because no one else knows how you feel besides yourself. So even if they don't understand, or even if they get upset, you just share how you feel, because no one can take that from you and no one can question it, because no one lives in your body. And then over time, even if they're upset, or even if your friends get upset because you're not going to that party, whatever it is, over time, they will notice that your energy shifted and that you're doing better. And if it's real friends, or if it's family who truly loves you, they will see that you're doing better. They will see that you're implementing and embodying a new energy that is aligned and that actually moves them closer. So it might feel first for a loved one or a friend like you're pushing them away, but you are actually moving forward in your healing journey. So there's not in the future that much clutter, that much trauma in the way to truly connect with them. And that actually improves that relationship. So it might be hard at first implementing boundaries with loved ones and friends. But all relationships that are real, that are truly based on love, they will deepen. Because people who truly love you, they want you to grow. They want you to heal. And they want you to feel safe at all times. And maybe they don't like it that you're not going to a party or not attending a family trip or whatever. But over time, they will notice why you're doing this. And they will notice how the relationship improves for you and them. So coming back to what boundaries are revealing about us, boundaries always reveal about us how much we love ourselves. Because if we love ourselves, we always choose us, even if we make other people uncomfortable with our boundary. We choose ourselves because our peace is the most important. Us feeling safe is the most important. So boundaries are our big opportunity to love ourselves more. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I would love to hear from you, hear maybe what you would like me to talk about in the next episode. I hope you found the boundary topic interesting. It truly is one of the biggest things that help me move forward in my healing journey. I think boundaries and setting boundaries is so essential to return back to your own power. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, have a beautiful week, and I see you in the next episode.